Hi and welcome to the outdoors. My name is Tomas and I run this channel called Skogsgeek. My son told me the other day that if you want to be successful on YouTube, you need to speak English. And of course he's right. The English-speaking audience is larger than the Swedish-speaking audience. So I haven't warmed up or anything, but I thought, why not give it a go? In the previous episode you saw some of the stuff that I have replaced with newer gear. I've been carrying a lot of extra weight because of the older gear and I decided to switch. And in this episode I'm going to give you a brief walkthrough of the three main gear that I carry on my hikes. But first, we need to have some real Swedish fika and coffee. What can I say? I'm a sucker for Danish. And coffee. Let's just sit back and enjoy for a minute. This is going to be a good day. And hey, don't forget to subscribe and click on that little notification bell so you don't miss anything. Shall we get started? Item number one, the backpack. So let's go ahead with the backpack. This is a Gossamer gear Mariposa 60 liters. And this is brand new, I've only used it for a week. I guess it's been around for a while, a few years. I've seen a few reviews on YouTube before and it seemed to me like a really good backpack. In this video I'm just going to talk about what I like and what I dislike with this backpack and just go through some of the main features. First off, I haven't found anything that I really dislike with this pack. There's one thing that I came across, and that's inside here there are two aluminum poles. And they poked a hole in the mesh down here. So I contacted the Gossamer gear and they told me about a thing that I haven't noticed. So when you buy this pack, you buy the hip belt separately. On the back side of the hip belt there are two slots for these aluminum poles to go into. And I hadn't noticed that when I put this belt on. So obviously that was my fault, but that is the only thing that I have to complain about this pack. I love these straps. They are soft, they're ventilated, and also the hip belt is not that large like a lot of other backpacks are, because you don't really need that wide hip belt if you're not carrying that much load. And I also like these side pockets as well. They are far more accessible than other backpacks that I have tried. And on top here we have these load adjusters. Not really necessary in my taste, but I can understand if you carry heavier loads. This might come in handy. When I usually use these load adjustments, I usually tighten them when I'm going uphill because I get a closer fit with the pack. And when I go downhill, I loosen them up so that the backpack falls a little bit further back. That balance me a little bit. And regarding pockets, we have on the one side, one small side pocket, one smaller on a little bit on the top. What I love about these pockets is that they don't have any zippers. And what that means is you can easily access stuff. And these cords, gummisnodd, vad heter det på engelska? These bungee, well, anyway, these are flexible and nothing falls out. And of course you couldn't carry anything that needs water protection in these pockets. So 2 small pockets on one side, and on the other side 1 large pocket. I actually fitted my tent in here. And even this Helinox chair I'm sitting in could fit in this pocket. It's that big. And on the front or back or whatever side this is, I keep, well, this is my rain kilt, homemade. And I also have a rain jacket because today there were a 10% chance of rain, so I thought better bring it. And this mesh pocket is actually very large. Even though you have packed the pack full with gear, you can still put a lot of stuff in there. So I love that. The only zipper this bag has is on the top pocket. Haven't used it. Didn't have anything that small that I needed to put in there. One other thing this pack has is it doesn't have any fixed panels on the back side for your back. Can you say that? Anyway, it has like a foam pad that you can take out and use for an ass pad if you want to, or a knee pad or whatever. At first I thought this would be very hot and sweaty, but it ventilates really good actually. And on the inside there's a pocket for your water bladder, and of course there are 2 outlets for the hose over there on the top, and also some hooks and loops and stuff that you can attach things. I never attach things on the outside of my pack. That's an old habit I have. I don't like stuff hanging and clanking. Well, anything stuck on the outside of the backpack is probably gonna fall off and you lose it. So that's why I keep everything in my pack. The weight of this pack is around 800 grams and the belt is around 350. Anyway, the total is 1008 grams. Compare that to my older backpack, my Fjällräven Kaika. It weighed around 3.2 kilos or something like that. As I showed you in my previous video, you can see all the weights of my gear in that video. I'll put a link in the description below and up here. Item number 2. The Exped Synmat 7. Like I said in the previous video, this is the one gear that I'm going to replace sometime in the future. Why? Because it weighs too much. It's a very good sleeping mat. I can't say anything bad about it, except I want to bring down the weight. So I need a smaller mat, a lighter mat and thinner mat, but I want it wider. This one is 50 centimeters wide, and I feel when I'm lying on it that sometimes my elbow falls on the side, and I need some more space. So that's that about that. And when it comes to sleeping, I'm a pillow person, so I went ahead and bought this C2 Summit inflatable pillow. I've used it a couple of times. Actually, I've used it 8 nights. And it's really weightless? No, it's lightweight. and inflatable. It has a flossed side and kind of a nylon side. I'm not sure what side I'm supposed to use and lean my head on, but this flossed side is most comfortable, but it has this valve on that side, so yeah. And if I would to buy a new pillow, I would buy a larger one. And so for the third item, this tent, Nordisk Telt. I think they're made in Denmark. This is a really good tent, I guess. I've had some issues with it. It's very easy to pitch. It doesn't weigh much, around 800 grams. But I've had some issues with it, because when I pitch this tent, the distance between the inner fabric and the outer fabric is so small. When I go inside and get into my sleeping bag, the foot box pushes the inner fabric onto the outer fabric, and everything gets wet. So I'm thinking about replacing this one as well. I'm not sure what model I'm looking at. I'm not sure I have the money to replace. This is a very expensive tent. But anyway, I contacted Nordisk, and they told me about how nylon stretches and how this tent was actually meant for racing purposes. They have built this tent under the assumption that you would use a 3 centimeter thick sleeping pad, and mine is 5 or 7. So of course this would result in my foot box touching the inner tent and pushing the inner tent to the outer tent, and the condensation and rain will make the nylon stretch, and it'll make my sleeping bag wet. So this is really not for me anymore. I have a lot of gear that needs replacement. I need a second job. Anyway, the last item for today is the sleeping bag. And this is a beauty. It's the C2 Summit Spark 3. And I got the numbers here. So the comfort temperature for this down bag is -2 centigrade, 29 Fahrenheit, and the lower limit is -8 degrees centigrade and 18 Fahrenheit. I would guess that this wouldn't be a problem sleeping in this bag in -8 degrees, because when I used this summer, I never closed it. I used this as a quilt, and this bag is so light. I think it's around 750 grams. I know I said something else in my previous video, and a viewer commented and said that the weight that I had, the weight that I said was the down weight, not the entire bag. So thank you for that. And what's nice about this bag is that it has these channels for the down to move around in. So it gets very fluffy. Is that a word? I don't know. Fluffig in Swedish. So, but the thing that I have some concern with is that it's all feels a little bit plasticky. Well, you know what I mean. So what I probably would use in this during the winter time is probably have some liner or something for comfort. Well, that's about it, I guess. We've seen the backpack, the tent, the sleeping bag, the pillow, and the sleeping mat. So that's about it. Now remember to subscribe to the channel, and if you like what you see, give me a like, and don't forget to click on the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Have a nice day.